violence that rocked the nation, we're getting all sides of the hottest topic in the country. First, it's a daytime exclusive. She recorded the viral video of her dying boyfriend that sparked outrage across America. Diamond Reynolds is here live. And as a nation mourns 5 fallen officers in Dallas, former New York City Police Commissioner Ray Kelly weighs in.
Hello and welcome to The View. It's a little bit of a different view today. Jedediah Bila is back at the table with us, and we're probably going to be talking about some pretty deep, heavy stuff. So first, you might want to get the kids out of the room. But before you do that, we want to start with a little bit of good news, which is congratulations to Serena Williams, who made history by winning her 22nd Grand Slam title. Amazing. She was extraordinary. And we also want to tell you about another amazing thing happening in sports. Congratulate the U.S. women's gymnastics team who are heading to Rio. They are going to Rio as one of the most diverse teams in Olympic history. This is our group. So, congratulations, Gabby, Allie, Simone, Madison, Laurie. So it's great. Not so great was what happened here in America. It was a rough week for America after the fatal police shootings of Alton Sterling and Philandro Castle. A crazy man who was mad about these shootings went to a Black Lives Matter rally in Dallas and did exactly what he said he was angry about. He shot 5 police officers and wounded bystanders, some of whom were black. Something crazy is happening. Shooting police officers shooting people. None of this is okay.
None of it is okay.
I mean, you were in Dallas.
Yeah, I just got back from Dallas last night, and it was really somber there, and I had the opportunity to meet with a lot of those police officers and speak to other reporters, and it was a very somber moment, but people really in Dallas have come together, and I thought that was heart-warming. I will say that the bright side of it is that the bottom line is that police violence is down, so people aren't just at random generally shooting down police officers. But we also have to be mindful that fatal police shootings of unarmed black men is up by 6% just this year. And so I'm hoping that we can have those 2 conversations at the same time, that we can mourn the police officers that were murdered, because that is so tragic, but we should also be mourning the 2 black men that were also shot within days of each other.
Is it interesting to note that 71% of police officers who've been shot and killed this year have been by white guys? 71%.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Did you get to talk to the Dallas police chief, who is an extraordinary
I didn't get to interview him, no, but he is extraordinary, and I think that's the kind of leadership that we need at this time. I mean, he's a man whose son shot the police and was killed. He's a man who lost his brother to violence as well. And so he's a man that knows it from the victim's perspective. And that was, and the Dallas Police Department, by the way, has made incredible strides in terms of policing in the community.
Yes, they have.
And so that is what is also so very tragic, that out of, everything, this is a police department that generally gets it right.
But here's what happens. Again, we talk a lot about people with issues. And this man who went and did this, clearly, if you're angry, you don't go and do exactly what you're angry about. No. This is a man who had, I feel, some psychological issues.
Well, that's been reported, that he was mentally unstable, that he had also been discharged from the Army dishonorably.
And had an
honorably.
They had discussed
many,
But he had an arsenal of weapons.
I think
all legal.
All legal.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying, Whoopi, is important, that people do have a right to be angry. I think there's a lot going on. And the right to protest in this country is a basic right. You have to protect that. But what you don't have a right to do is go and inflict violence on other people. And I actually felt that President Obama gave a great statement. I thought it was balanced. I thought he stood up for law enforcement, protecting those people who go out every day and protect our lives. I think he condemned violence, and I think he also spoke to the issues that a lot of African Americans in these communities feel that they are targets for no reason. And unless community and law enforcement comes together and has these discussions, and the rest of us understand the importance of unity, this problem's only going to get worse. So I appreciated that at a time when we needed unity, the president didn't take a side. He took everyone's side, and he said, I hear what you're all saying, but violence is not allowed in any circumstance, and the right to protest has to be protected, but it has to be peaceful, or you're undermining your own cause in the process. So I thank him for doing that.
Well, unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of other balance in the world, because former mayor, New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and NYPD Commissioner Bill Bratton are slamming the Black Lives Matter movement. Giuliani claims it's anti-American and inherently racist. Let me start by saying this, Rudy. If you look at who's marching in those Black Lives Matter marches, they are all colors, all hues. God bless you. It's men, women, black, white, green, orange. People are saying, we see an issue. We see a problem. So telling us, particularly black folks and particularly black parents, that we need to teach our children better because they're probably going to be killed by each other, is not the way to do this, because we already know what we need to say to our children. This has been going on a very long time, but it doesn't help if you stir the pot, Rudy.
Well, he's not the only one.
No, he's not the only one, but he's the one I'm talking to now.
Yeah.
Along with Mr. Bratton, you know, to tell us to take a page out of the NAACP's playbook is kind of not the thing you want to say. I would say you first. None of the people who were shot, not the police officers, not the people who were shot over the weekend, none of them were disrespecting the police. So telling us to be nicer, to be quieter, is not going to work. You first, I say. Be respectful. Understand why people are upset.
Well, you know, the statement that he made on Face the Nation yesterday, which I think the commissioner said, his statement on Face the Nation, Giuliani, was the real danger to black Americans 99 out of 100 times is other black kids who are going to kill them. I think that's a separate argument, first of all.
Well, not only
he's making a separate argument, but it also skirts the issue of racism, which is really the discussion that people should be having in this country. What is racism in America? It's not about... A lot of times people sort of don't understand, I think, what you're driving at, what it means to be white in this country either. What it means to be white. People, I'm talking to white people now. I mean, I'm a white girl. I'm a Caucasian girl. I can move into any neighborhood I want. I can go to any school I want. You know, I can travel in any country where there's no terrorism, of course. I'm scared of that. But I can go wherever I want.
You can go in a store and not get followed.
I'm not going to be followed thinking that I'm shoplifting just because of this color of my skin. I think that people in this country need to understand that you have this privilege because of the color of your skin. And you need to get a little more sensitive to that fact. And when you start that, go there a little bit.
Yeah.
You will probably start to understand what black Americans go through. I've seen this movie. I'm old. I've seen this movie. I saw it in the 60s. I saw it in the 70s. You know, people make a little bit of progress and then they go backwards again. And there's never this understanding that schools need to be integrated, that people need to be living together.
But the people need to be treated with dignity, with the same dignity.
Goes without saying.
Because for me, this has been very personal, because all of you know I'm raising a 13-year-old 6-foot-tall black boy. And the bottom line is, I want him to come home to me at night. I know that he is at a 2.5 times rate chance of getting shot by police than Candace's 14-year-old son. And I have to have that talk with him.
Let's put this in perspective also. It's not just your son, it's your husband.
It's my husband.
It's your husband.
My father.
It's your dad.
And the bottom line is for Giuliani to tell me that I need to teach my kid to be more respectful to police. Are you freaking kidding me? I teach my kid how to be respectful to police because I need to save his life. Well, I need to make sure he can survive this.
But it's not just that. It's not just that. If you can't see that there's an issue, if you don't understand why people are marching, you are the problem. If you don't see that there are all kinds of folks marching in this, if you don't put a face to them, you're the problem, man. You are the problem. We're all just trying to raise our kids. We're all just trying to get through. We get that you don't understand. We're trying to help you.
Well, he also paints the entire Black Lives Matter movement with one fell swoop, and then he would object to doing that to the police force.
Or to the Tea Party.
Or to the Tea Party, as you pointed out before. So it's like no group wants to be painted like that.
And there have been
That's what you're really driving at.
That have spoken out that I'm so glad that they have. Newt Gingrich did. He said it took me a long time and a number of people talking to me through the years to get a sense of this. If you're a normal white American, the truth is you don't understand being black in America, and you instinctively underestimate the level of discrimination and the level of additional risk. And Marco Rubio went on to say, those of us who are not African American will never fully understand the experience of being black in America. And
but those same politicians need to vote so that black Americans and white Americans are equal in this country. For instance, the Republican Party is the first party to go against affirmative action, for example, which basically helps people of color in this country, which has put people in professorial positions, has made them more doctors, more lawyers. Those are the things that work in this country, and they vote against that. So I don't listen to this type of it's nice of Newt Gingrich to say that, but what happens when the vote comes down? That's the more important point.
You know, we were talking earlier during our meeting that I've had this conversation with my 13, soon to be 14-year-old, but you haven't had to have that conversation.
No, I haven't had to have that conversation, and yet within my family, I have black nieces and nephews. I have cousins and just extended friends that I have many black people in my life, and no, I haven't had to have those conversations with my own children, but it doesn't mean my heart isn't compassionate, doesn't mean I may not understand it from the personal level that you will, but I want to be part of the answer.
Right.
I think we all do, and I think that starts, the bottom line is it starts with our communities, each of us taking the responsibility on ourselves, whether you're white, black, Asian, old, young, Christian, Muslim, whatever, and we deal with it together as a community and have these conversations and invite people that maybe are out of our comfort zone in to have that conversation, get to know each other.
And let me just point this out. See this? See the faces here?
Yeah.
All colors.
Of course.
So who are they racist against? So when we come back, we're going to be talking to the woman who recorded her fiance after he was shot by police. But as we go to break, we want to pay tribute to the officers in Dallas who lost their lives. You might want to just ask your little kids to go into another room for this. Last Wednesday, Philando Castile and his fiancée, Diamond Reynolds, were pulled over by police, and moments after an officer shot him 4 times, Reynolds began live streaming the aftermath on Facebook. Take a look.
We got pulled over for a busted tail light in the back, and the police just, he's covered. They killed my boyfriend. He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket, and he let the officer know that he had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet, and the officer just shot him in his arm. We're waiting for a back. I will, sir. No worries. I will.
told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
Please welcome Diamond Reynolds and her lawyer, Larry Rogers Jr., who's in our audience. Diamond, what were you told about why you and your fiance were pulled over?
We were a busted tail light was why we were pulled over.
Well, we just saw that video of you when there's your boyfriend lying there and this is all going on, and yet you had the presence of mind to pull out your phone and do this live streaming. I'm in awe of that. What were you thinking? How did you come up with that?
It was really God. I really wanted to make sure that no matter what, my side, his side, our side of the story could be viewed by the people, and they could be the ones to decipher what to take about that.
But I'm curious, what went on in your mind that you thought that you could do this?
It was just to, first stay calm for my daughter.
Yeah.
Any sudden moves I was feeling, any nervousness would have made the police officer strike us. So it was in my best interest and in my daughter's best interest to stay calm, and I'm very in tune to social media, so it was in my best interest as well as my boyfriend's best interest to and my daughter as well. She was, you guys couldn't see that in the video, but she was in the back seat. She was presuming on the floor, but I just wanted the people to know that, these incidents do happen and we don't bring them on ourselves. So it was just so that people could be aware of situations like this.
And your daughter's 4 years old.
Yeah, she'll be 5 soon. She's 4.
I want you to be able to set the record straight for everyone. Did anything happen before you started filming Facebook Live that would have justified this officer shooting Phil 4 times?
Absolutely not. There was nothing that would have led to an officer gunning him down. We followed with procedures. We did everything that we was asked to do, and we were only stopped for a headlight or a tail light.
Candace?
Back to your daughter. She was in the back seat and she witnessed everything. How is she feeling now? Has she been asking you questions? What have you been talking to her?
She's told me she's had a few, she doesn't call them nightmares. She calls them God dreams, because she says that no matter how many people says that Phil is dead, she believes that he's still alive, and I believe that he's living through her. Ever since birth, I felt like she was an angel, so she says things to me like, Mom, Phil says this, or Mom, Phil says that, or she'll say, Mom, I'm gonna make Phil some soup because that's gonna make him feel better and come back. So just her being so strong and being able to soothe me and me soothe her, I just tell her that, she wants justice as well as myself. She's a very smart little girl, and she's strong, and she cries, but she tells me, Mommy, don't cry. You're going to make me cry. So every time I cry, I try to wipe them as soon as possible, because I know if she sees it, she'll cry. So that's what made me also stay calm, is because of her.
Sounds like you find so much strength within each other.
Absolutely. I would have not been able to do this without her.
Is this, in the town that you live in, is this a surprise to you that something like this would happen?
Absolutely not. And it's not even the town that I live in, it's the world that I live in.
Yes.
So being somewhere where you always feel like you're being pointed out, or you're being stereotyped, or you're being racial profiled, you expect it. So we always do what we're supposed to do, so it doesn't cause something so tremendous like this.
And explain to us about the firearm.
What do you guys,
it was legal.
It was. He was licensed to carry.
Right.
There was never, the officer didn't know it was on him. He was never asked, or were we concealed. We volunteered the information. Right. He was still in a seatbelt. He was having difficulties getting to his license and registration. And that's, how it happened.
Larry, I want to just shift over to you for a second. You're representing Diamond. Are you going to be pursuing an investigation with the Justice Department? And if so, what do you hope to get out of this?
Well, first and foremost, we want a thorough and truly independent investigation of what happened here. There was a shooting not long before this incident of Jamar Clark in the area, and there's a significant amount of distrust in the investigation that was conducted there, and there's distrust across the country. I live in Chicago, where we've faced our own challenges there, also relating to videos. So we want to make sure that the Department of Justice comes and does an independent, thorough, and complete investigation that we can trust. Also, when you're a civil person like Diamond, the only way you can conduct your own investigation is through civil litigation. So we're going to do the things we need to do to make sure that this is not covered up and that things are properly pursued and vigilantly pursued to make sure justice is served.
Thank you so much.
Thomas Kelly, the lawyer for Officer Yanez, the police officer that shot your fiance, he made this statement. He said Yanez was reacting to the action of the driver. This had nothing to do with race. This had everything to do with the presence of a gun. How do you respond to that?
That's absolutely incorrect. He was so laid back. He was so cooperative. He was very patient. He was himself. He was mellow. His voice didn't raise over a 1. So that's absolutely incorrect.
And also, you're allowed to carry the gun.
Oh, yeah.
So
He had a permit.
he had a permit, and it is an open carry.
But it wasn't
state.
visible as well.
So he says, I'm carrying a gun, which is the law. The NRA loves that.
In Minnesota, it's
have
an
to
open
tell.
carry jurisdiction.
Yeah.
But
So
he made the police officer aware,
You have to.
right? And so he did what he was supposed to do.
Did
Follow
what
the
he
rules.
was supposed to do.
Tell everyone what you would like them to know about Philando.
I would like everyone to know that he was very sincere. He was loving. He accepted everyone. He worked in a school for well over 15 years and knew over 200 kids by name. He would never bring harm to myself, my daughter, or anyone around him. He was very giving. He was very respectable, and he was just a great man. He was great.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you. Thank you, Larry. We have a lot more to talk about with former NYPD Commissioner Ray Kelly right after this. 5 Dallas police officers were killed last Thursday by a madman looking for revenge over last week's police shootings. And joining us now is former New York City Police Commissioner and author of the book Vigilance, Ray Kelly.
Hey, Ray.
Welcome. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Ray, when you look at these 2 videos, or you listen to Diamond, what do you see?
Well, they certainly look bad as far as the police are concerned. As the attorney said, we need an in-depth investigation here. But certainly the optics of it are bad. I think it's something to acknowledge from the get-go is that police officers make instantaneous decisions. Those decisions can be wrong. Their judgments can be faulty, just like anybody's judgment can be faulty. If you make a mistake in business, it costs money. If you make a mistake as a police officer, it can cost lives. So the stakes are much higher. And what we need here, as the attorney said, is an in-depth, thorough investigation as to what happened in both of these incidents.
Right. Do you think that it would also help if we were able to change some of the tone that's used by people on behalf of the police? Because I wonder if sometimes, as we saw with the Dallas commissioner, who said, I'm coming at this as a family person, you know, and this is a terrible thing that's happened and shouldn't be happening because our officers are, you know, trying to do their best. Do you think it would help if people actually heard that from the people who keep making these statements?
Tone is so important. Timing is so important. I thought Chief Brown was so impressive, so articulate. He's obviously had hurt as far as his family is concerned, yet he was absolutely terrific. So, yeah, you're right. Words matter. And when you use those words matter, And yeah, I think we all have to tone down the rhetoric. We rush to judgment on these cases. Ferguson, which started, I think, Black Lives Matter, the officer in Ferguson incident was ultimately exonerated by a thorough Justice Department investigation. Yet most people don't know that. It's a very rapid rush to judgment there. Lots of mistakes were made by the department, by the city of Ferguson, but that officer was ultimately exonerated.
But when you see these things, how much of it is fear on the police officer's part or racism? What's your assessment of that?
You know, it's so hard to say.
Yeah.
Is there anxiety on the part of police officers? Yes. People sort of discount that. They think they're, they're superhuman. Well, they're not. They have their own fears and
in the
concerns.
Philando Castile incident, the policeman was hysterical. He seemed to be so anxious and upset and weird. And the girlfriend who was just here was calm as a cucumber. And not that calm, but she was controlled, whereas the cop was out of control. What do you say to that?
She was so amazing.
Yeah.
Her comportment, her demeanor.
But shouldn't the cop be just
as far as the police officer is concerned, I don't know what precipitated this. That's what the investigation will focus on. What made him do what he did? So we need that to be thoroughly examined.
But Commissioner, I think we need to talk about the statistics because as Joy was asking you, we know that a black kid like mine is 2.5 times more likely to be shot by a cop than his white friend. And the bottom line here is that when you look at the statistics, white officers shoot suspects more quickly, black suspects, than white suspects, even in training videos.
Yeah.
So how do you fix that? Is it training? Is it reducing the use of force? Is it shooting to wound? What is the solution? Because we know that there is a problem.
It's a complex issue, no question about it. We know that about 70% of people who are shot by the police in the United States are white people.
But there are more white people in the United States.
That's true. However, 13% of the population is African American. They account for about 30% of the police shootings. There is a lot more calls for service for the police to go into communities of color, so it just increases the contacts. I think we need to look at this issue more thoroughly, drill down as far as the issue of shooting minorities is concerned. It's a complex matter. There's no easy answer to it. There is, more crime in communities of color than there is in the white community. So you have to factor that in.
See, the mere fact that you say it like that goes to the segregation, which is basically at the root of a lot of this evil, is segregation. You say in the black communities. Why are there only black communities and white communities? That's the problem.
Well, that's a much larger issue.
It is, and that's the issue that needs to be discussed.
Why are these communities over-policed, and why are these tactics used in these particular communities? Because that's not to say that black people just happen to commit more crime, because that doesn't make a lot of sense, that just by the nature of their race they commit more crime. Well, that is not necessarily true.
I would question the notion that it's over-policed. The vast majority of those contacts that I talked about are a result of 911 calls. People in those communities calling for the police, calling for help.
Because people fundamentally know that most police officers are there to do their job.
Right.
Yeah. People, listen, I happen to believe a bit more of, if you want to make this better, first admit there's an issue. First, let's all say, yeah, there's an issue we need to deal with. Yeah. I think what tends to happen, and we saw it here with Eric Gardner, where no one understood why people were enraged. Mm-hmm. And this idea that you can't get anyone to say, damn, that was messed up. That's never what we want our police officers to do. No one ever says that. And that's what I think will help us feel better about what people know. And I say us, and I mean us as a community. White people, black people, yellow people, and all the people, all the people I'm talking about. Because one of the things that we have to have is we have to have that communication like we have with you, so you have to come back. Thank you to former New York Police Commissioner Ray Kelly, and we will be right back. So welcome back. Now, the FBI and the Justice Department just seemingly closed the books on the Hillary Clinton private email controversy. FBI Director James Comey said that Hillary was extremely careless to use a private server for official emails, but didn't recommend any filing of charges. And yet, we're still talking about it. It's kind of insane, you know, because apparently when you send, I mean, he says that he should have probably just given the facts about her email and not his opinion.
Yeah.
But 110 emails marked classified when she either sent or received them. But how many of them did she send and how many did she receive that was classified? He doesn't. It's very, what the hell?
Well, the question is, how is this going to impact the race? How is this going to impact the presidential race?
It will.
I mean,
think
she's careless, but he's clueless. Okay, take your pick. That's it. What else can you say? You want him? You want Donald Trump, who's a complete racist who will exacerbate all the problems in this country with his hateful rhetoric? Do you want that? Vote for him.
I think the problem is, though, that she lied. So whether or not she got indicted, for me,
where did she lie,
she
baby?
said, I did not send or receive any classified material.
That she knew.
And
That she knew of.
That's the legal
but she also said that it was, well,
she
that's
had to
technically
have
not,
known that she did it.
Actually, intent is not written into Title 18. Intent is written into Title 18 now, because it's Hillary Clinton,
It's a
let's
specific
face it.
intent crime. It doesn't have to be written
The issue
in.
for me
I
is
did go to
not...
law
She
school.
said she provided all of her work-related emails, but the FBI discovered several thousand work-related emails that were not
not
provided.
several thousand. She didn't provide them because, like other email users, she deleted them. So they found stuff that she had already deleted like a year before. That's what they're talking. That's what makes this so crazy, because what I understand is that these emails are not necessarily classified until after someone is sent them.
Sometimes what Comey said was that sometimes, which is what I've been saying for a long time, sometimes it's born classified. And what that means is that it's classified based on content. The issue is, as Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, she's a smart woman, I think she's capable, should have known that by content, that stuff should not have been transmitted over a private server that had very limited
what if
security.
she felt that it wasn't classified? See, this is the problem.
That's the issue.
She should have known.
But even if she says, listen, to me, this isn't classified because of ABC. I mean, if you're the Secretary of State, but here's the problem. They've classified so many things. All of it is vague. They say, well, she might have gotten some and she might have sent some. Well, which is it? What did she get?
You know what's shocking to me is that this FBI director is a Republican. He was appointed by President Bush. W. Bush. He was, confirmed at 93-1. I mean, this is a guy that Republicans should trust, and he said there is no issue here.
I actually don't
There is no case here.
Actually, I don't take issue with his call that she shouldn't be indicted.
Hold that thought. We're coming right back. You were saying.
Yes, I was telling Sonny that I'm not going to argue with Comey's recommendation that she not be indicted. My issue with Hillary Clinton is Hillary Clinton, is that she says things repeatedly. I handed over all of my work emails. No, you didn't. Actually, there's a few that you didn't hand over. I did this because I wanted to simplify things and use them on one device. Actually, no. You had a bunch of devices. I handed over. I never sent anything that was marked classified. Actually, 3 of these emails were marked classified. And if you poll people, they're finding that she's not trustworthy. And all I say to her is, tell the truth. Just tell us what happened.
So she says, listen, I gave you the emails you asked for. They said we found some extra ones. Like, okay, they then go on to explain that, like other email users, if I take something from last year and I've deleted it, it's not going to be on the server that I have right now. But they don't explain that. If you say, oh, well, you know, a couple of months ago, they classified some stuff, or a year ago, they classified some stuff. Well, which is it?
Well, you know,
what is going on?
I want her to know what's classified based on, even if it had no classification, no markings on it. I want her as Secretary of State to know that. And the reason this story is scary to me is because this is national security information. I'm worried about hackers. I'm worried about people that hate the United States getting that information. So it bothers me that she did it.
This must have happened before, Jedediah, because previous secretaries of state did the same thing.
Not with your own server unsecured in your basement. It's a bad decision.
Have an email address like I have?
Not his own server. It's a bad decision.
She did not get hacked.
We don't know that.
Yes, we do know. I'm sorry.
There's no evidence that she got hacked.
There is no evidence that she got hacked.
You wouldn't see that. You wouldn't see that because those people who hack.
I'm sorry, but you have the United States government has IT people. You cannot tell me they don't know when something's been freaking hacked. We'll be right back.
They don't know a lot.
Tomorrow, actress Lynn Whitfield on starring in the brand new buzzed about show critics are calling The Next Empire. And guess who's at the Hot Topics table?
Put some 50 in your morning.
50 Cent co-host tomorrow on The View.
Hey, listen, we had a really amazing show. Maybe we helped. Maybe you can keep the conversation going. We want you to have a great rest of the day. We want you to take a little time to enjoy The View and talk to your friends. Maybe there's more connection than anything else. See ya.